Hi, John, can you hear us?
Hey, John.
I can, and can you hear me?
Yes.
And you can see the
And we can see
screen.
Check you guys out with your fancy hybrid technology.
Look at our executive chairs.
Thanks for being our guinea pig.
Okay.
Was this the first one?
This is our first one.
Okay, so it looks like an owl you guys have there, huh?
Yeah. And it's challenging with all of the glass, you know, the windows.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you know, this is kind of an easy example because, trial night, because we don't have any applications, but we'll see moving forward.
Hello.
If you want, I could try to like share a screen.
The empty seat is good.
What's that, John?
If you wanted, I could like try to share my screen or whatever and see how that turns out. Although I don't have.
Well, at that point, if we want to go through, if we want to go through the vision statements.
I'm guessing it's Michael.
That's what we're.
That's Michael.
Hello, hello.
It is Michael.
Oh,
Good to
right,
see you
Michael,
too. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Janet.
Bob.
All right, I'm gonna mute for a minute, John, unless you need, you want me to say?
I'm fine.
You're good?
No.
Yeah.
We'll just give it another, we're waiting for
Greenwich,
John
so you-
Dusa and Elliot to join us.
Then, no, Melly's been 20
Um,
years at Old Lyme. so-
all right, we'll be right back.
Where were you for the last meeting?
Hi, Elliot.
It was.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome to the circus.
Oh, I think you're someplace.
Oh, no, I was at the National Science Foundation, where I work.
Oh.
Whenever I
Okay, so we're all
rarely
here,
visit.
and we're almost at 7 o'clock.
2 days.
Got it.
Everything's working?
That was.
It appears so, we have no other attendees aside from our panelists.
There are.
So we can start right at 7.
Nothing handed out now, these were things I printed out.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
An audience.
Hi, how
An
are you?
audience.
I'm very well. I'm Andrew Wood.
Hi, Andrew, nice to meet you, from the Economic Development
I'm from the
Commission,
Economic
right?
Development Commission.
Oh,
So
excellent,
I'm here to spy.
super.
Boy,
Great,
you're gonna be
all right.
back, I hope.
So
Up our
Thanks for
game,
joining
you
us.
know.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's 7 o'clock.
It's
Shall
like
we?
social hour here, yeah. I used to being out of my bedroom.
I know.
Okay, gang. Okay, go ahead, Carol.
I'd like to call this meeting, January 5th, 2023 of Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Welcome, everyone. We have a new hybrid system in place, and it's great to have live people at the table with me. Should I just do a quick introduction, maybe?
Sure.
One end to the other, going down to my proper left, John Dusa. We've got Bob O'Connor, we've got Janet Peckinpah, I'm Chair Carol Snow. our town planner, Aaron Mannix, and
Michael.
Michael Gupta, who is on alternate, but would you like to be seated tonight?
You want me
I don't know if we're voting maybe on things.
Well, yes, so I would hold off until after the election of officers,
Okay.
since Mike is an alternate, and then absolutely take part in our P O C D.
Great. Okay, so our first order of business is the election of officers.
Carol, just to also include Elliot as our.
Elliot,
We have to
Elliot,
remember,
yes,
it's not just in
Elliot, I'm
person.
sorry, Elliot.
Where are
Of
we?
course, we know you're there. We can read your name,
Disrespect
but
there,
but yeah, I wish that there was a way to have the screen behind us in a way so that everybody could be at the same table. But Elliot, we're going to be turning our heads back and forth because we've got two screens in here. Same for you, John. So bear with us. And if technology goes down, I apologize in advance, but I think we're going to do it. And we've got a good meeting to practice, have our first session. Okay, so as I said, the first order of business is election of officers. This is a little awkward for me because I lead it. But we have chair, vice chair, and secretary to vote for. And my understanding is that I'm certainly willing to run for chair or be chair again. I'd be happy to do that. I'd be honored. We've also had interest from Elliot Hitchcock to be vice chair or secretary. Elliot, that's still good for you?
That's still good for me, either one.
Okay, great. And then John Duza, you've shown interest in being secretary, I believe?
Correct.
Good. So can I just, how do I do this?
Sure, somebody would
Nominate
like
myself?
to make that motion and somebody second it. and
I'd like to make a motion that Carol Snow would continue as our chair and Elliot Hitchcock would come on as our vice chair and John Duza as our secretary.
And I would second that with enthusiasm.
Great. Any further discussion? Can we roll it all into one vote? Sure. Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Elliot, that was in favor, I hope, right?
Yeah, I was in favor.
Okay, great. I think we're all set then. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you all.
Painless.
Thank you, Elliot, for serving as vice chair. Thank you, John, for serving as secretary.
Yes.
I think you'll get to do your first minutes tonight.
Okay.
No, you're not responsible for minutes. Don't panic.
I mean, just
Oh,
doing it
wow.
at the meeting
Yes, for
approval.
approving them,
Oh,
but
you're
you're
right,
not
you don't have to write
responsible for recording them.
Yes, oh, and actually, I would like to acknowledge Raquel and the excellent job she does. We see her name up here on the screen. We don't ever give Raquel enough credit, I don't think. And so at the start of the new year, I want to say, Raquel, thank you for everything you do behind the scenes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, so are we ready to move on? Oh, okay, yes. So this would be my opportunity to see Michael Gupta. Sorry, thank you.
okay.
And feel free, I'm a little nervous tonight, so correct me whenever I make mistakes, and if I mispronounce names or give the wrong name, please. I welcome all corrections. So Michael, you'll be on as a vacancy, to fill a vacancy, and feel free to vote then.
Okay.
That's great, and speak up and speak out with any thoughts we have. So John, are you ready to proceed with the plan of conservation and development updates?
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think of the topics here, I think the first two, the POCD mission and vision statements and the outline revisions, will be the bulk of what we would address this evening, and then we'll sort of talk about schedule and next steps. But so I shared via Aaron a draft. Well, actually, I should say your chairman, Carol, provided a revised mission statement, revising the 2013 POCD, and then I added a draft vision statement, which I'm going to bring up on the screen right now. Can people see that?
Yes.
Yes, we can, thanks.
Okay, so and then which I believe was distributed, and Carol subsequently did a markup of. I accepted Carol's markup, and so what you're seeing on the screen is a clean version. of our collaborative version. And if it's okay, I would just like to read it. Not that long, and to give people a sense of where we stand, and then I'd be happy to talk about the substance of it. So the mission statement is to guide the conservation and development of Madison to maintain and enhance quality of life in a resilient and sustainable community. And then the vision statement. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we want to stop there? Does someone have something?
That was a water bottle.
I'm sorry, that was my water
Okay.
bottle.
Okay.
Now,
Well, there's your technology we got to work on. Water bottle filtering. Okay, and so the vision statement, a little bit more wordy. The Town of Madison Planning and Zoning Commission, in developing its update to the 2013 Plan of Conservation and Development, is guided by an interest in protecting and enhancing the cultural, historic, recreational, and natural resources of Madison, and by the desire to promote activities and policies that will foster a more vital, connected, resilient, and sustainable community where opportunities for growth are available to all. We envision a Madison that provides economic, educational, housing, cultural, recreational, and civic opportunities that establish a high and sustainable quality of life. We envision community growth that encourages broad participation and safeguards the integrity of our natural and cultural resources through sustainable conservation. We envision civic and private investment that acknowledges and plans for a changing climate and the need for increased equity for current and future residents. Growth in Madison will continue to have a strong focus on Madison Center as the economic and cultural heart of the community, while integrating thoughtful development into surrounding areas and throughout the town. Development and redevelopment to strengthen connections among all areas balanced with conservation of natural and cultural resources are essential to the realization of this vision. It's a mouthful. It's some outstanding prose, but I would welcome your comments. And thank you very much, Carol.
By the way, I think this is really outstanding. So I really have just a couple of questions. The first paragraph, you will foster a more vital, connected. Connected, I didn't understand that. What does that mean? Connected community.
yeah, we've talked about that before, and John, I think you gave a better answer than I did last time. We
Maybe
were
I
talking
forgot.
about connections.
Yeah.
Connectivity and
remember I asked him about
connectedness, because they're different levels that can be considered.
Yeah, I really like the word, and so I'll apologize for being so married to it, but connectivity and connectedness is both a physical and a metaphorical usage here. Physically, obviously looking at things like, road, sidewalk, bike trails, but also, information networks, communications through, through the government, communications through community organization, but then also through other elements of infrastructure, high speed data, broadband, and other utility connections. So it's, and then it has a cultural component to it as well through, civic activity and celebration. So that's I think why a lot is loaded into the word connected.
I want to add too, John, I like the idea of the document itself being interconnected, so that we don't have separate sections that kind of are standalones, but that it all works together.
I get it now. I think you're talking about social capital. A little bit there.
In large, I think you're talking about social capital, and you're also frankly talking about infrastructure.
We know our neighbors.
Mhm.
Great.
Any other questions or comments? Do we vote to approve it, or how does this, or do we?
I think you don't probably need a formal vote, because I think there's probably opportunity to edit this as going forward. But
Good.
if you have some consensus that this reflects where we're going, I think that's great.
That sounds great. And I think as we go along, we may tweak it, we may edit some as we put the whole document together. So everyone okay with it so far? Sounds good.
That's outstanding.
Elliot, how about you?
I'm okay with it so far.
Great. Thanks.
Keeping your powder dry on that one, Elliot.
Any comments from the Development Commission?
Well, I'm interested because one of the things that we've identified at the Economic Development Commission.
Sorry, could you identify yourself again for the?
Sorry, I'm Andrew Wood.
Thanks.
I'm a member of the Economic Development Commission. One of the things we've identified is that the population of Madison is both falling and aging. And yet the greatest asset other than our natural assets is our education system. And so one of the challenges that we see is how do we attract young people or people with school-age children? Because if we're going to invest in our schools and we have an aging population, and so the one thing that's not here is how do we see the growth? Where is the focus for growth? We talk about growth, but where's the focus of it? And we think, or in our discussions, brief as they were, we thought focusing on ensuring that we attract young people to the town to take advantage, not just of our physical attributes, but also our educational attributes. And how do we do that? And everything, connectivity, transportation, everything flows from that goal.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, we do, in the second paragraph, we say it provides, that we envision a Madison that provides economic, educational as our second. Not that these are prioritized necessarily, but just that it's there, the importance of education, as is growth. But I hear what you're saying, that from your development perspective, these are really instrumental.
Yeah.
In how we want to see Madison move forward. Yeah.
So I jotted in the notes just the word welcoming. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, making Madison a place where people want to move and to help grow the population, right?
And bring in young families.
I think when we talk about later on, excuse me,
Mhm.
Chair, when we talk about later on, as we were putting this together, we talked about bringing new kind of dwellings into town and more affordable and
It's
things like
all
that.
related.
But it's all in there.
Without the housing stock.
Yeah.
But yes,
Gonna find a way.
I think we're on your side on this one.
Absolutely,
Uh,
yeah.
I can't speak for others.
And I think the way we're going to be moving ahead, I mean, we'll talk about that with next steps, but we'll identify all the stakeholders. Obviously, the Economic Development Commission is huge. And we'll have more meetings with everyone at the table so that we can all hash out the exact language to suit everyone as much as possible. That's our goal. Yeah, great idea. John, does that sound good from your?
Yeah, I do, and I'm just wondering, and without making this be too wordy, I think that's an important point, and I just wonder if we could put maybe a clause in here, something like about, that we envision community growth that I'm thinking like embraces new residents, welcomes new residents,
Yeah, that's what
and then encourages broad participation, something like that.
Yeah,
Welcomes younger residents.
can we say
I don't
that?
think you
No,
can
we
say
don't
that.
want to say that.
I really don't, I
No.
don't think
Okay.
we can say that.
No.
I mean, we talk
Well,
about diversity.
Can we put
Well, that would be
can we put new
addressed.
in quotes? So they're new on this earth all the time.
No, I don't think I don't think we're gonna get into
Welcomes
that.
new residents, I think that's good.
And visitors, I mean, if you're looking at, it's not just
Residents, but
I
also
mean, you're trying to,
visitors.
I mean, from an EDC standpoint,
Yeah.
you're looking to welcome not only new residents, but
Yeah,
you're
but the
trying
key
to
point for
be.
Madison is that our greatest investment is in our education system.
Mhm.
And we are investing significant capital resources into that education. And that's our number one thing. So if we're doing that, we've got to ensure that we've created an environment that attracts school-age people. Because at the moment, school age people decline.
Well, no, actually, right, based on our demographic analysis during our affordable housing plan, that is one of our groups that is growing is the under 19 age group. So we will be seeing some growth, and even since the original design of the new elementary school, we've had to add additional classrooms because of that number of students has increased. So there is, they're both are, you know, the over 65 and the under 19 are our two growing populations.
The challenge is, I think, in that middle, that young adult when they get out of college coming in. I think your 35 to 54 is probably okay, but your 25 to 34 is, yeah.
It's enough.
Good luck finding a place to live.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Except
right
in
now.
your daddy's basement.
Right.
Mommy's basement.
Yeah, but we don't want that to happen.
No, that's, what? Yeah, what, no.
No, especially
I love my
if that,
children dearly, but.
especially if that basement is in the flood zone.
I mean, we also talk about vibrancy and vitality
Yeah,
and,
those-
there are
don't
other
worry.
kind of umbrella words we're using.
Don't
but
worry.
When it comes down to the specifics, I think we'll get into it.
Yeah.
And there will be a review of the data and the demographics.
Right, and one thing, Andrew, as we move on to our outline, which is essentially our table of contents for the book, we'll start to see the individual sections where we're gonna focus a little more specifically. The vision statement itself, I think this is good to add in here, attracting and welcoming. That is clearly a goal, but it's a little on a higher level, a little.
So we'll work on the vision statement a little bit.
Yeah, so I will, I'll make the quick edit and then we'll send it out as sort of the consensus version, just so we can have this and kind of move forward.
Great.
Yes.
So then the next thing I would bring up, and again, this is a clean version of a markup that we talked about last month when we talked about the various outline options. And so this is again, essentially, I think my light touch on Carol's proposed outline would be, and so this up top stuff is, we moved over to the vision and mission statement. And so as Carol noted in the discussion about the word connected and looking to sort of weave themes and weave the document together rather than be chunked up in broad topics, this is an attempt to kind of do both things. And so what we had proposed for sort of overarching and sort of woven through themes would be vitality and connectivity, resilience and sustainability, and opportunity and growth as sort of these paired themes. And then to split up the actual document into several big chunks, a couple of basic administrative, if you will. The first being, and now I'm in the actual outline. So number one, introduction is again somewhat administrative, talking about what a POCD is, what it's intended to do, what the state charges us to do in the statutes, a little bit of the history of these plans in Madison, and obviously focusing on some of the most recent, the 2013 goals, and then to do that basic demographic population profile that I think a lot of that we can pull from the affordable housing plan, because that was really just done and that data is still pretty fresh. Again, it's pretty administrative. The second would be the community vision, which we just discussed, and then a discussion, I think, of these, three paired needs and why they are appropriate to Madison's growth and its conservation and its desire over the next 10 years. And then the proposal would be to take two big chunks, basically the natural environment and the built environment. Natural environment being all sorts of the natural resources, our land, soil, and water, recreation, management, I think the people element, climate protection, climate change, those natural elements, and apply those three paired themes to the natural environment and talk about how we want, to treat our natural environment, our conservation, to ensure vitality and connectivity, resilience and sustainability, and opportunity and growth. And so, sort of examining that natural environment in those three paired themes, and then look at the things that we need to do, recommendations for action over the next 10 years to move that element forward. And then in the next chapter, which I think will be a little bit more detail oriented, is the built environment part of it. So we talked about natural environment, next will be the built environment. So things like our education, our infrastructure, community facilities, economic growth, housing. And then each of those things would be basically filtered through that same, trio of paired themes. And then analyzed again with those recommendations for action. And then the final section would be sort of the conclusion and implementation, would we basically take all those recommendations for action and put them in a relatively detailed matrix of this is the recommendation, this is the time frame, this is the priority, this is the key entity that needs to lead the charge on it. So these goals are trackable and trackable and accountable. And then a couple of appendices. So that's the broad thing. I mean, it both breaks down things by topic, but it wraps them in to these big subject areas of natural environment, built environment, and then the paired thematic. I'll stop there and see if that structure makes sense to people, and if we need to tease this out at all.
Any thoughts? We've looked at it a little bit before.
I was just looking at our original.
I've read it all.
I don't have a better idea. I think it looks fine
I
to
mean,
me.
Again, I think we can be flexible as we go along. If it doesn't make sense exactly like this, we can adjust as needed. John, I have one question that I've worried about, and that is, will you be making sure that we're covering all the topics that the state requires us to cover?
Yes, and I wouldn't worry too much about that.
You can plug in everything too.
Yeah.
In this framework. Yeah. Okay, great.
All of these things, it's transportation, it's housing, it's natural resources, it's open space, it's community facility, it's all of those things. So yes, I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Thank you. Andrew, any thoughts? Blink reaction to our outline?
I think I haven't got a better idea.
Yeah.
It seems to make sense to me.
Okay, great.
I understand where it's coming from, so I
Super.
shouldn't interfere.
Thank you. I mean, you're welcome to participate, obviously, but it's not interference. And we welcome feedback. Any other thoughts or questions?
No, I'm fine. I've read it through previously, so I'm comfortable with it.
Good. Elliot?
I feel pretty comfortable with it. I mean, it's obviously something that could be amended as we proceed forward. So, it's for a starting outline. I think it's a great beginning.
Yeah, I thank you. I do think that in these two sections in here, the natural environment, built environment, which is really the meat of the plan, I think we're probably going to have to play with the structure a little bit, because it's going to be, I think, a little bit. I think we may end up having to sort of break down those sections into each of these subsections, where it may not be possible to treat them truly in a seamlessly woven, integrated way. That we may have to have a pull-out discussion of recreation, the town recreation facilities and programs and things like that, and a little bit about climate, and then ideally at the end of each set of that chapter, we will talk about some of these things a little bit more holistically. So, as we get into the meat, I think there will be pretty focused chunks that we'll see. But this is a combination, a gumbo of structures that is a little bit new to me also. So it's going to be kind of fun to write.
It's intriguing to me as well, a little bit. John, I guess my thought in moving forward is that we kind of have to look at these themes individually and gather our thoughts of what those mean, right? To the commissioners to kind of have that as your highlight point as we're moving forward each of these points, or each of the subject matter to, mostly under number 3 and 4, the natural and built. The first sections of the outline seem to be kind of plug and chug a little bit here of just filling in general information, but it seems like the next real process we need to kind of go through is understanding what each of these themes mean.
Yes. Right. And so I think we will want to, and I think probably a month or two down the road, we'll probably want to set aside a fair bit of conversation time just about how, when we talk about, vitality or connectivity when it comes to things like recreation and our natural resources, kind of talk through how that strikes us. And we'll try to structure, we'll have that conversation first, and then I'll sort of sit down and start typing. But we'll start with conversations on those things. And I think when we talk about some of those things, when we talk about natural resources, natural environment, it might be appropriate. And again, we can, take these things 2-3 meetings at a time. We can invite, I would suggest, inviting folks from Conservation Commission, from the Land Trust, from, the bike and pedestrian folks, to kind of talk about their goals and how their work fits in with this stuff.
I agree.
But so what I think is doable, sort of, again, so Madam Chairman, I would defer to you, but if we sort of feel like we have general consensus that we want to proceed with the structure and see how it goes, that's great. So then what I would propose, maybe for the next time, is I think I can probably add a little bit of language talking about the broad relevance of the themes, what we mean, to actually put some explanation to what we mean by vitality, what we mean by connectivity, generally speaking, and why it's an important theme for municipal planning purposes. And then start also putting in some of the plug and chug, as Aaron said, in the what is a POCD, why do this plan, what's the statutory basis. We can give you some of that. And talk about that, and then we can maybe set up a schedule of discussion and maybe people that we want to invite for some of the substantive discussions as we get into the sections 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think some of the stakeholders even maybe should be part of earlier or any discussions. I mean, we encourage people to come, but I don't know, Aaron, how formal it needs to be. We will also have, as we make further progress, we'll have public
participation.
workshops. Yeah.
Right. But I think it is good. I mean, we've identified individuals who, are previous stakeholders and those who served on committees in the past associated with the plan or previous renditions of the plan. So, and I've received, contacts from these various groups that they want to be involved and know, where are we going? What's the schedule? So this is a good next step, in my opinion. We've created this list of contacts and stakeholders. So I think it's appropriate to start that, reaching out and give them a little bit of guidance as far as what our anticipated schedule is. Even some public outreach in, contacting the newspaper. Here we are, we're gonna get started, and, we did some real preliminary work, I think, in 2022, and here we are, now in the new year, I think we really need to start plugging away at the substance here. Getting feedback, so right. I'm comfortable moving forward with your plan, John.
Okay. So then, yeah, so we'll plan to have a little bit more narrative and substance and stuff for you to read, and then we can sort of talk through sort of schedule discussions next time.
Yeah, sure. Are we basically with John just like once a month, not both of our meetings, but just our first meeting of the month? Is that how this is gonna be?
That's our hope.
So we've absolutely dedicated the first meeting
Yeah, yeah,
of the month
of
to
every
this,
month.
but we may find in times, and I know, John, we kind of chose the first meeting of the month just because of your commitments as well.
Schedule, yeah,
and
but
John,
because you meet first and third Thursdays, and third Thursdays,
Right.
I generally have a conflicting meeting, but I could be available if we really need to have another session.
at some point, and it may, that we could even schedule a special meeting,
Sure.
dedicated specifically as we're focusing or dedicating the first meeting of the month to the POCD. We're cramming a lot in as far as application business to our third, our third week meeting. So those will get a little lengthy as well if we wanted to add in a real POCD
Okay,
discussion. So-
that's what I was wondering, because I know we have that deadline, this
Yeah.
summer, and so.
It's November.
Oh, the final time.
But we do have to have a general document, yes, so that we can begin the public hearing process and adoption process. And we'll use that, even for interim kind of review and work. I'll communicate with John and through Carolyn, be able to share things with you throughout the month, so that it's not just, we discuss at this meeting and then forget about it until another 4 weeks pass.
Thank you.
That all sounds good. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you, folks. Erin, I will be in touch shortly, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, John.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, so we have several applications pending. Erin, I think we've scheduled them for public hearings.
Yes.
Do you want to go over them at all, or?
1362 Boston Post Road is Town of Madison application, Salt Meadow Park for the dog park. We did have continuance. The hearing was an extension, I should say. The hearing has not been opened yet, but the date is scheduled to open on January 19th, which is our next meeting. We have another application from the Town of Madison, which is at Polson Middle School for the updates and replacement of the tennis courts. That is also scheduled for the 19th. We have an application at 32 New Road, which is another special exception application. This is at Welding Works. It's an industrial building. It's for a rear addition and some site work there. That's another public hearing scheduled for our next meeting. 155 New Road. This is the north side of New Road, one of the opportunity areas as designated in the 2013 POCD and eligible for application for a PDD, a Planned Development District. The commission saw in the not so distant past an application on the south side for the master plan and zoning boundary change or the map amendment for that side, and that was a medical office building. And this is the north side property, which is for residential development. So this would be the public hearing for the zone boundary change and proposal of master plan for that.
Erin, when I checked the application documents, it didn't look like there was very much today in that, so I think by the next meeting, there will be
Yeah.
additional.
Well, there would be a general master
Master
plan
plan, good.
and the application.
Good, okay.
That's not, I thought it was, I'll check.
Maybe, unless I was looking at the wrong place. but-
Okay, I'll make sure that's it. It has been submitted, so my apologies if we didn't.
I saw it at one point, but I didn't see it today. I checked, but
All right,
double check.
okay, good.
Thank you, great.
Mm,
Okay, and then do we know about 22-33, the applicant Fraser Lulage petition for regulation amendment to the regulations? Is that
This is a new application.
new?
As the commission recalls, you denied the previous application for text amendment for PDD at your last meeting. The applicant immediately refiled an application, slightly different language. And so the official receipt date of that application is today. And so the request is to schedule the public hearing for the January 19th meeting to open that hearing. So we would need a motion from the commission to do that.
So could I have a motion that we schedule that public hearing for the 19th of January 2023?
I'll make the motion.
We have two motions, but could one person second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Elliot. Any further discussion? We're on. And we look forward to that amended language.
So we have a busy night on the
Do I
19th.
need to take a vote?
Oh, I apologize. Yes, you did vote, no?
I think,
Just
did we
a
vote?
second
Oh,
in
no,
discussion.
We didn't vote, but
all in favor?
Apologies, go ahead.
aye.
All in
For
favor?
that public hearing. Okay, I think it's unanimous.
Okay, and I apologize. I may have said the new road, the other new road application, the master plan, that's not scheduled until February.
Oh, that's what I was
So
thinking.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, that's not,
That's why I was confused.
that's 2/16.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and you've already, that's already been
That's
scheduled.
in here, yeah.
Great. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 public hearings
Whoa.
at your next meeting.
Whoa.
So drink your coffee.
Drink your coffee.
No doubt, no doubt.
It'll be, well,
Well, I would think the tennis court one should not take a
we
long
hope that they
period of
won't
time,
all
but maybe I'll be,
require extended.
I'm showing my lack of.
Time will tell. no doubt.
My
Yeah,
naivete
yeah,
again.
You'd be
So
surprised.
we're fine. Yeah, I can
So that'll be our real test for
going
our
from 4 to
hybrid.
6 tennis courts. I
And
don't
how
know.
we're doing, yeah, with hybrid
Participation
especially.
and- Yeah.
Okay. Great, then let's move on to the approval of the
Well,
minutes.
clearly, they should be pickleball courts.
We're not gonna get into pickleball, okay?
But why are these tennis courts?
That
Joking,
discussion came up
joking.
at the
Joking.
ARPA level
Really?
when
Did
they
it?
were allocating funds, you bet.
Of course.
Okay.
Everybody loves pickleball.
So John, are you ready to assume secretaryship? And we have,
But what do I do now?
so we have 3, or maybe Elliot, do you want to give any lessons on the next step of approval of minutes?
I think it's actually pretty straightforward. I mean, John's sat through plenty of them already, and unless, are you prepared to do them, or?
John, actually, could we
So
put
we
the
have-
agenda up maybe?
We have three
Yeah.
meetings that require approval, John. The November 17th, 2022 meeting is the first one.
Yes. So I have that, but I don't have the actual minutes.
So the minutes are online. Let me,
Yeah.
and I'll pull them up and I will tell you who was present.
Okay.
And so we'll just,
I do have them printed if you need me to do them for this one meeting.
I think we need Elliot to conclude, and I'll pick up next one.
That's fine, that's fine.
thanks, Elliot.
We put you on the spot, John. And I have everything on my laptop, but I would be lost without this, so.
I had the agenda, but I don't know where to look.
Just a helpful hint.
So we'll give you a quick overview before the next meeting. Oh, there won't be nearly as many minutes at the next meeting.
Yeah,
For
we have
some
a real
reason,
backlog.
Yeah, all right, so you have November.
I have all 3 sets of minutes.
Okay, great.
All right, so the first set of minutes for approval is our November 17th meeting. Members present were McDowell, Bodenson, and Peckinpah. Alternates present were O'Connor and Bugda. I will need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second.
Second, Paul.
I'll second it.
That's Michael Bugda.
All right, and is there any discussions or changes? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
I actually need to back up on that. When I said that I was voting to approve, and I'm gonna have to abstain also because I was also not present.
And for me,
As for
well.
John as well.
Boy,
So that.
Basically,
I'm the only one
it's
who.
Janet, Robert, and Michael are the approves, and then myself, John, and Carol were abstained.
That sounds right.
All right, the next set of minutes is the December 1st. We'll need a motion. Actually, I'm sorry. Members present were Hagan, Snow, Hitchcock, Duza, and Peckinpah. Alternates present were O'Connor and Bugda. And I need a motion.
I move to accept.
Carol,
A second.
a second.
I'll second.
Any discussions or changes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
No.
No.
Okay, so those are approved. And the last one is our December 15th meeting. Members present were Snow, Hitchcock, Bodenson, Hay, Duza, Peckinpah. Alternate presents were O'Connor and Bugda. Entertain a motion.
I'll do the motion. Thank you.
Second,
That's Michael.
That's Michael.
need a second.
I'll second it.
Bob seconds.
Any discussions or changes?
I do have a little discussion about, on page 5, I came across, I think that they're actually just spell check errors or hearing errors, but you can scroll down to, I mean, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of input from the public. Under Jim Nordgren there, it should have an apostrophe. That's just me being grammatic bug. But the other writers, I think it should be riders, R-I-D-E-R-S. With riders attached to the document. And then just another small, did you see that?
Riders.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
a small change then down under Ben Diebold. I think he was referring to the plan of conservation and development. The plan of conservation and development, not planning conservation and development. Second line up from the bottom, from the bottom of that paragraph.
Plan of, yep, right here.
Okay, just to clarify that.
Sure.
Otherwise, it looks great.
Any other discussions or changes? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Approved. And that's all three.
Thank you, Elliot. And John, next time you're on. If you need any more instruction, we're happy to help.
As always.
As always. Great. Okay. Remarks? I have none more to say than it's great to be in person. Elliot, it's great to see you on the screen. We made it through our first meeting as a hybrid. So
Worked
yay,
very well.
yay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Elliot, did you have any trouble hearing or anything, or?
Not hearing too much. The one thing I did notice is throughout most of it, it was only showing like two people. And sometimes when John, Michael, or Robert spoke, it didn't actually pan over to them. every time?
Wasn't loud enough. They didn't pick up
Or it
on
might be the owl's not turning too, because you're getting the center here somewhat.
I know the panoramic picture. So see, it'll focus on me when I speak and it'll focus, I think, on maximum of 5 screens. So we're really one camera. It just splits. So we're all here under the same view. The panorama on the top is helpful where you can see everybody, but if it's not zooming in to the individual while they're speaking, it might be a little
That's a
hard.
very-
Is there microphones that are on the table or,
No, so the
No.
microphone is directly through the owl.
okay,
Which is smack in front of me. I don't know. if we had a
John
s-
is our furthest person from the microphone. So if John is having trouble, if you're having trouble hearing him, we may need to just adjust our owl a little bit.
Can you hear me now? Elliot?
Yes.
yeah, I could hear you. It just wasn't panning over to you before when you were speaking. Like I heard you talking somewhat faintly, but I was able to hear you speak. It just wasn't panning over. And at times it would actually pan on 2 people at the same time, even though only one was talking. But I mean, it's not bad. The sound quality is pretty decent.
All right, we'll give it a shot. We do have other options in other rooms if this really ends up being challenging.
Or, yeah, we have
during
like
the
a
hearing.
round table of discussion or something. I don't know.
So it's limited to how many? 3 at a time?
3 at a time
I've
plus
seen
the.
5, I think is the
Oh, there I am.
max.
I see myself now.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing 3 plus the panoramic on my
Yes.
screen.
That's right.
So that's our 4 right now. I think we could get 1 more in. But it should turn to focus on Andrew if he's talking from the audience. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hello. Has it?
Yep, it did turn.
That's
Good.
It works.
So it should. Now, the only challenge is if we have a larger room and we need to have the public speaking, we may end up with a podium type setup where where the camera is directed to one location to focus on versus trying to find the voice in the room.
Gotcha.
That
Probably
that
makes sense.
yeah, we may try to. This was a start. It was successful. I'll take it as a win.
Yeah. Also, Elliot,
Pretend.
you and anyone else who's zooming in, because I think we'll all take turns zooming at some point or another. I hope you'll speak up and when you have things to say or questions or anything. You know, I think we try to circle back to everybody, but I'm just noticing that it's easier now that I'm sitting with live people here to look up and down the table and then, oh yeah, right, the screen is over there, so I have to kind of
Yeah, we have to train
pull
for
you in.
a new dynamic.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll definitely speak up or at least raise my hand or something to
great,
chime in.
good,
Yeah.
good, thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, I think it worked. Any other remarks?
Happy to be here.
Likewise, if we all,
Right? Yes.
kind of nice.
Just one quick question, maybe for Aaron while we're here. What is the difference for next week, this new application compared to the previous one that they submitted in general?
The criteria,
Okay,
the
The language that's
the
on there,
language,
yeah.
the eligibility criteria is the only section that was proposed to be changed in the first application,
Right.
and they changed their request and altered the eligibility criteria based on feedback they received from the last
And it's
hearing
available
process.
online.
So it is
Yeah.
linked,
cool.
these application documents, when you look at the document online, you'll link to it and it will give you that specific language.
Okay.
But they'll be prepared to walk the commission through that new criteria at the hearing.
Because it's a new application.
Yep, and have all of the necessary supporting information to answer your questions.
Forward to it.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Aaron, I had one additional question regarding the owl. You were saying like in a larger group, there may be a podium for it to focus on. If the
Yeah.
presenters are in person, I would assume they would end up having to present from that podium rather than walking in front of the room.
Right, so that's something we'll have to look at. If our presenters are virtual, rather than making paper copies of everything and, you know, to have people looking at paper copies here at the table, we may still be relying on the PDFs on the screens because we'll still need to screen share for all of our virtual attendees. And I would anticipate that a lot of our professionals who are, you know, who are here on behalf of their clients will be here virtually. It's, you know, in a way, it's very appealing to them because oftentimes they're at multiple meetings or not traveling, you know, for that night. So I'll be prepared to have the digital copies, but I think it's important that we focus on either one or the other. I mean, we have to, I guess we could have a paper plan, but all the rustling of plans, and passing it along to the commissioners, it may be harder to see.
Is it possible for us to Zoom and be here in person? Because I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing text from that far away.
So we can move these closer.
That would be one solution.
That's
Yeah.
one
That would help.
solution
Okay,
because
that
they're
would be
on
helpful.
wheels. We can also
Or we can
pull up
download all the
documents
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
onto, you know, they're all available online. You don't even have to download them.
That's true. You can just
We
go
can
to the
just pull
website.
up the meeting materials.
Right.
Or if you have your,
Laptop.
yeah, so screen sharing, or you
That'd
bring
be-
your tablet that has the
Documents,
documents.
that'd be
on it.
best. Yeah, that'd be best.
Otherwise.
Or print them if we have to.
Well, that's the thing, in the old days, we used to print
I know.
paper copies for every commissioner, but it's
great.
Be nice if
fairly
we don't have to do
wasteful.
that. Yeah,
So using the PDFs, if we all have access to the screens here and we can move the TVs closer, you can get up and walk around too.
Sure.
To see them, you
Yeah.
know, depending, we'll have to do a little trial and error, see what works. The
Yeah.
room's not too big, but it's big enough that it's not right here in your
well, if we
face.
could just start by bringing the screens closer, that'd be great.
That's a good idea. So we'll, I think the next couple of months of meetings, we're gonna find what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And problem solve, and hopefully it'll work
See what happens
because
when
it's
we
a,
have big crowds and the noise level. is
Yeah.
out of
It'll be interesting.
control.
Yeah.
And the owl doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do.
it's a good opportunity to allow more attendance to the meetings and flexibility of the commission and everybody visiting, but it should work smoothly for us and not create any challenges in actually hearing the information or hearing
Or
what the
seeing it.
public has to say. Yeah, or seeing it. So the OWL seems to work in other municipalities from those that I've talked to, and it's worked for the Board of Selectmen, although it's a different dynamic, not necessarily reviewing plans and screen sharing. So we'll give it a shot. If it's harder to use, we can also try a trial in the Hammonasset room that has different, a more expensive online system for meetings that we can try. So,
It also appears from my angle that there's been quite the upgrade in the chairs that are behind the table that everybody's utilizing.
Oh, these chairs are great.
We can get you one for your home.
they're like the first class section of the airplane, but there's not enough to, if we have a full seated commission.
No, they do.
We only have 7 chairs.
Kind
So,
of like something's going on about the tennis court.
So we'll figure it out.
anyways,
All right, any other discussion, comments? Great. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure.
Nice
And
to meet you.
could I have a motion to adjourn then?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Janet.
I'll
Second?
second.
We have a second from Michael, and we are adjourned at 7:55.
Hey.
Yay.
Is that a record?
all in favor? Elliot, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it is not quite the record. I think the quickest we had was about a 40-minute or 30 to 40-minute one a couple different times.
Impressive.
Definitely not the longest.
No.
Thank you,